Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 82. It's been 2 weeks since our last show. We missed last week, um, but we are going to recap Week 10's NFL slate. We'll do our picks for Week 11. We have Fantasy Corner, and I'm sure we're going to work in a few other things. So, probably a pretty tight-knit show, although we always say that. Never usually is. So,
Yeah,
but
that's true. We're always like,
here we
oh, it'll
go.
be about 45 minutes, and then it took over an hour. So,
So, yeah, no rundown. Although next week's show, I'm not sure what day we're gonna record it because next Thursday is obviously Thanksgiving. But next week we should have a rundown, the Week 11 rundown. We'll have more time. At least I will to write stuff down. Luke, I think, is still in school until Tuesday, right, Luke?
yeah, I have a few
Yeah.
classes next week. So,
So, um,
really, the G word. That's the big G right there, having classes next week. But,
yeah, I would agree with that. Q word, F word, yeah, all those. But but we're going to talk about last week's games. We did not do that great. 500. So yeah, we're still kind of not doing very well. I went 8-6 the week before after Luke had a great week, and then Luke just went 7-7, and so.
we're
And
middling right
honestly,
now.
the games this week are kind of confusing too, so I wouldn't be too shocked if we struggle again. But let's just start with Carolina at Chicago last week.
Yeah. Before we even get into it, can we just like acknowledge how much this week sucked? This football slate was ass. There's no other word to describe it. It was.
Well, then I would call you a criminal because the witching hour for the second straight week in a row was fucking amazing. So
I was just gonna say, I don't know if it was that amazing, but the noon games were good. There were some good noon games. Other than like the primetime games were terrible. For week 10, we have to do better. As the NFL schedule makers, we got to do better. But at the same time, you had the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the Eagles all on a bye, and even the Rams, which for being bad, they are actually kind of a fun bad team. So when they're not playing Brett Ripien. So yeah, a lot of fun teams on the bye this week, which really sucked.
yeah, I will wholeheartedly disagree with your take that the witching hour was okay at best. The Houston Cincinnati game was awesome in the witching hour. Jameis doing weird shit in the witching hour was fun. Green Bay at Pittsburgh got weird at the end. And Cleveland Baltimore was crazy at the end. So the only games that really weren't were San Francisco Jacksonville, which we got correct. We had San Francisco.
Yeah. That was a last minute switch by me too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And then Tennessee at Tampa Bay. That game just never really appeared on my television screen. I actually have no idea what happened in that game. I know Tampa won, but that's about it. But starting back on the last Thursday, Carolina at Chicago. Look, this game on paper is just disgusting and gross, and you shouldn't watch it unless you're a disgusting individual. So therefore, I watched it, and it was surprisingly a good game. Like where both offenses moved the ball down the field. Tyson
16-13, a lot of offense in that one.
A lot of field goals, but I was just shocked that both teams were able to move the ball. Like it wasn't like a Big Ten punt fest. There was quite a few drives that would stall out after they would pass midfield, and lots of field goals, like I said. But the Bears got the win late after a bad Bryce Young play in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I feel like he's actually getting a little bit better as the weeks go on. I feel like he might just be like a late bloomer, like we're seeing history with CJ Stroud. I'm not ready to count out Bryce Young by any means. And then
This could be
Chicago,
like
Tyson Bagent is 2-2.
it could be like a Trevor Lawrence situation where you just have your coach is just so bad in year one that it almost like doesn't count. It could be what we're seeing with Bryce Young here. My notes for this game is not only did I not watch, but I didn't even follow. Like when I don't watch the games, I like check the scores as they're going on. This game I didn't check until it was final. I saw who won. I was at the Blues game, so I was occupied with that. That's part of the reason why we didn't record last week because you were busy during the afternoon, and then I had the Blues game in the night, so we just couldn't get a time there set up. But yeah, that's my notes for it.
Yeah, that's understandable. And I have similar notes for Indianapolis at New England. Wasn't awake. Saw the final score was 10-6, and like how I don't even know how to say this, but like how when you're on like the ESPN app or the CBS app, they'll have like a little highlights section, like the first thing you can see when you click
Yeah,
on the game.
they didn't have it.
They didn't have it. There was none. So yeah, I don't know what really happened. I know Mac Jones apparently was miserable, and Gardner Minshew scored 10 points, and that's
Yeah.
basically it.
I checked the score. I think it was at the end of the first quarter, and it was 7-3. And then I checked it like an hour later, and it was still 7-3. And I just thought my phone like wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi or something, and it didn't update. But it did. And that's all you need to know for that game.
So my one thing about this game is I feel okay that this happened because the week before they took, like, we gave Germany one of our best exports in the entire world that we have to offer, Chiefs at Dolphins. I feel like that's a little bit too generous. I'm fine that we made them watch the Colts and Patriots for 3.5 hours instead. Kind of reparations, if you will, for World War II. But, that's neither here nor there, so we'll just move on to the next game. This game was an electric factory for the second week in a row for Houston. Had a big lead on Cincinnati. Joe Burrow got into high gear. Him and Jamar Chase, they came storming back. The Cincinnati defense stepped up. And then on the last drive of the game, C.J. Stroud put a field goal drive together, and they won 30-27. And one thing to point out, this game was won on a game-winning kick, Luke. And there was a little bit of history this week in the NFL. 6 game-winning field goals at the end of games. Most ever in a single regular season week in NFL history. And obviously the most in any week in any history because there's not even that many games played in the postseason. So most ever, 6 game-winning field goals. My takeaways, Bengals, this is a game that they really didn't want to lose because obviously they had the slow start. They had won a lot in a row. They're getting hot, and they just played a good team, but they probably shouldn't have lost that game for playoff seeding and whatnot. But C.J. Stroud is him. That is my other takeaway. He actually has like some half decent mediocre weapons enough to where they can score a pretty decent amount of points, and they're finding some just like little pieces that are starting to develop, like Noah Brown, the 7th round pick out of Ohio State. He's had back-to-back weeks of over 10 catches for over 150 yards. Dalton Scholes, obviously, and Tank Dell and whatnot. But
Couple former Cowboys.
Exactly, yeah, multiple. So I don't know, but C.J. Stroud, I think we talked about this a little while ago. As soon as Kirk Cousins died, he quickly became my favorite, my like most recent quarterback that I like to watch. That's not like Mahomes, just because of his pocket presence and awareness, and his mechanics are already so dang good. It's insane. He's just really fun to watch. He's just like a pure pocket passer. It's fun to watch.
It's what he was
Yeah.
at Ohio State too. He's a
Yeah.
gunslinger. This is what happens whenever you hit on both a coach and a quarterback in the same offseason. You can go from being, a Hail Mary away from the number 1 overall pick in the draft to a playoff team. That's kind of what the Jaguars did not that long ago with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson. They did that last year. I mean, it's pretty incredible how quickly it turned around down there in Houston. Hey, the AFC South is they might become the next big division. As weird as that sounds, they've been like the worst division for my entire life, but the Texans on the rise. You got the Jaguars that are kind of in their blooming factory. The Colts, it looks like Anthony Richardson may be a guy if he can stay healthy. And Shane Steichen has been proven to be a pretty good coach so far. The only missing link there is the Titans. But Will Levis, he's shown some flashes. And obviously Vrabel, we know he's a good coach. This could really just be a gauntlet division, which would be weird. I mean, but the other gauntlet division is the AFC North, which the Bengals are in. And they needed this game because they have a really tough schedule ahead of them. And this game at home would really help. But yeah, they lost.
Yeah,
so.
and I think we think in our brains that the AFC South has been awful our entire life, and I think it's because they never have true contenders like for Super Bowls, but they actually do kind of go in and out of like being like a really tough division for teams in that division. I feel like they beat up on each other a lot. But I think that's most divisions of football. But I feel like that one, like there's all kinds of weird kinks in that division, you know, like the Texans always win in Jacksonville. Colts never win in Jacksonville, you know, and just like all these little weird things like that. And I like what you're saying about the Jaguars. They're blooming, and yeah, they are. But they also, like, I don't know, I mean, they're just not for real, I don't think, you know, because, I mean, they just got their shit pumped by the 49ers. I mean, not even close. I mean, it wasn't even close. So, I don't know. It's hard to judge that team, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is, but, you know, they do have some excitement brewing, needless to say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year they were really exciting. And they're about the same this year. You know that they can't. You know that they can't win the Super Bowl, though. You know what I mean?
I think that's fine. I think just being a competitive team is okay for those fans right now. You know, obviously in a few years you're going to want to win Super Bowls, but right now, I think those people at Jacksonville will take like a winning football team.
Yeah, I wonder though, like if you were to ask a Jacksonville fan, and granted, don't get me wrong, they went through some bad years pretty recently, but like how many more years are they like just fine with being a good competitive playoff team? You know, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, this is what, year 3 or 4? So, like, how much longer? You know what I mean? Like, are they just content with that? So, I guess we'll see in the next few years. But New Orleans at Minnesota. Now, I wasn't able to watch the first half of this game. I really only got to watch when Jameis came in.
Yep.
So that's about when I started. I got to watch the whole witching hour on Sunday, and then I had to go back to schoolwork. Well, this is literally all I ask for when I say we just want to watch Jameis play. Got the full Jameis experience, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Jameis dick rider, and I love the dude. But I was still a little upset at some of the interceptions, but it is a part of the Jameis experience. Like, he threw his first touchdown pass off the bench. I mean, pinpoint accuracy, but also a great catch. And then the second one, a touchdown pass to A.T. Perry, who, shout out, Wake Forest legend, by the way, ACC receiving legend. But his first touchdown of his NFL career, but just a throw, Luke, that, I mean, you have to be psychotic to make. I mean, and it was a throw where if you would have thrown it earlier, it wouldn't have been as psychotic, but he waited until the last possible second to throw it, only like Jameis Winston will, and it was just a funny touchdown.
Yeah.
Where it
was one of those like Madden throws that you throw.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the aggressive catch from 2016. That's what A.T. Perry had to do for the touchdown. And then the next two Jameis interceptions were just so criminally Jameis. One of them was just a bad arm punt, And then the next one was like, wow, they got another chance. The Dolphins just kept giving the Saints chances to win the game. It's like they didn't actually want to win. They just kept giving the ball back to the Saints somehow. And they had plenty of time, and Jameis just threw a pass to a guy in like triple coverage, and it got picked off. He did throw a sick Hail Mary that got to the end zone, but it kind of just fell on deaf ears. But that's the Jameis experience, like Derek Carr, boring as hell. That was fun. Josh Dobbs good as well. Other takeaway.
Yeah, he's been really fun for them. The Saints coin. This is the first game it's got wrong all year, so that's done. And then another thing I have, Dennis Allen, he might be losing his terrorist status. I know we've been calling him a terrorist for a while. He may just suck now. Like, he just sucks as a coach. Because he's
not awful, though.
But, I mean, he's been playing Taysom Hill a lot more. The offense has been getting back into it. He played Jameis this week. The Saints have been winning some games. Kind of not a terrorist. I'm not going to call him a terrorist anymore. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, he's probably going to do some stuff in the next few weeks. Like Derek Carr is going to come back, and he'll probably resume his terrorist status when they put up like 3 points or something.
But for now, he's lost it.
I want to kind of remove the terrorist status from him because they're winning games almost too. Like they're not an awful team. They can be extremely boring, but they're not an awful team. So, but now I say that like wins is the thing that takes away your terror status. The Steelers, we'll just jump around to that game real quick. They're 6-3, but I still consider Matt Canada a terrorist.
Oh yeah, because their offense is bad. I would consider him a terrorist too. But I'm just saying Dennis Allen has done some things that have actually been good for the game of football, I think, in the last few weeks that, we deserve to remove that tag from him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Although we had a weird bet that Luke came up with on this game.
Yeah, well, it is Green Bay, Pittsburgh. So obviously our two teams, and they don't play, every 4 years they play. So this is something that is, it's not going to happen every year. This might be the only time, in podcast history, who knows where we're going to be in 4 years with this, that we'll be able to do this. So, we, of course, naturally, we made a bet on it. Loser, and I lost. So, but there should be an asterisk by it because we got boned by the refs in this game. With that fumble, that backwards pass that we took back for a touchdown.
Oh, my God. That
cost close,
but shit like that happens all the time. I'm not putting an asterisk by that.
Okay. Also, but the reason the Packers shot themselves in the foot this game, Josiah DeGuara, my terrorist status was removed from Dennis Allen. It might be placed on this guy. He's been nothing but booty cheeks since we drafted him. He was so bad at tight end, we had to move him to fullback. Because he couldn't play the tight end position, and he somehow still sucks at fullback. And of course, he's on the kicking team, the field goal team. On that extra point that got blocked, if you watch the video, he just is literally like a. Do you remember that clip of Jose Altuve in the World Series a few years ago when that guy flipped him the ball at second base for the double play, and he is just like taking a knee, staring at first base, not paying attention at all? That's exactly what he was doing. He was just like in his set position, and the ball was snapped, and he just didn't move, and the guy ran right past him. His controller literally just died.
It was a great visual.
And that's the Josiah DeGuara experience for you. And if he would have done his job and woke up on that play and blocked the guy for a half second, even we got that extra point off. We had 2 chances where we were inside field goal range at the end of the game that we could have just tied the game. Maybe even won the game with a field goal there, and sent it to overtime, and who knows what happens in overtime. But, yeah, so that he cost us that game, and it's not surprising. But at this point, Packers are 3-6. They're 2.5 games out of the playoffs. The season's over. I know I said it last week, but it's definitely over now. And just Yeah, just tank. Jordan Love didn't look bad. He was very inconsistent, as was Kenny Pickett. That was the funny part of this game. But I have to do the dance now on Saturday for Mizzou
Yeah.
game day.
Trust tree. I think I might already be ready to move on from Kenny Pickett. I don't know if it's the bad mix of him and Matt Canada.
It is.
But he sometimes the whole offense wakes up in the fourth quarter. That's not a good quarterback, though. A good quarterback is, even if his offense is asleep the entire first three quarters, they're awake. They're trying to make shit happen. He just, I don't know. And he gets hit really hard, and, he falls weird, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out. I don't know how much time they're going to give him because they're winning games. And it's not like a situation where you can be like, well, they can't win a Super Bowl with him.
It's not a Zach Wilson situation.
Yeah, it's like, well, actually, the defense is so good most of the time, and the offense does weird little things, and our special teams has been good to where actually you can't even say that this team can't compete for playoff games and even a Super Bowl with how good the defense has been.
I would be shocked if they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But it's not like you can rule them out. Like I was just saying, how you could rule out the Jags, and the Jags just beat the Steelers. But the Steelers play a weird way of football, where if weird shit falls into place, they could make a run. With that being said, I don't want him as the quarterback, though. He just doesn't do enough, if you ask me.
Who have the Steelers beat this year? Because that's kind of an evaluation of a Super Bowl team. Okay.
So they've beaten the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens. They beat the Browns, the Rams, the Titans, the Packers, and the Raiders. So there's some respectable teams in there. They did lose, got blown out by the Texans, but that's not a bad loss anymore. And then lost to the Jags and Niners. That's a good resume.
Yeah, well, the loss to the Jaguars was not good. But that's the game where stuff wasn't falling into place, if you know what I'm talking about, Luke. The offense, they were on the streak of waking up in the fourth quarter, and they never did in that game. I think the final score was 20-10, and it was just awful. It was gross. It was wet outside, but disgusting. The Texans one is also weird. That's an any given Sunday kind of game situation because they were literally favored in that game and they got blown out. Vegas had them favored and they got blown out. The 49ers is just losing to the better team. But
the Steelers are going to be in the playoffs though, Cam.
I know. I don't know if I'm ready for that. A couple of years ago when this happened, we played the Chiefs. And TJ Watt got that touchdown at the beginning of the game, and were you there for that?
Yeah,
we were watching that.
Maybe we have a chance.
Yeah, and then it was just over like that. But
Mahomes just dropped his wood all over
this
the field.
This year is a little different because I knew we were losing that game no matter what, but I don't know. The defense is going to keep them in so many games. I don't know. It should be interesting. I'm having a hard time rooting for them, though. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Steelers, but I'm having a hard time rooting for them because of Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada, and George Pickens has been a little bit of a weird diva lately, but I do like watching him just throw his body at weird stuff, and I don't know.
I like watching the defense of the Steelers. I'll put it that way. TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Patrick Peterson even made a big play in the game.
Yeah, he did.
Keanu Neal, I didn't know he was on the Steelers. He had a big pick in the game. They have so many dudes on defense, and it's real fun to watch. But the offense is turn the channel when they come on. These next two games, I think we can kind of go through a little bit. Tampa Bay beat Tennessee.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. and then we kind of talked about this one already, San Francisco at Jacksonville, but San Francisco came out, they took care of business off the bye week. This was a big win for them going to Jacksonville, which the Jaguars don't play real well in their home stadium for some reason, for whatever reason, but this continued and they got dominated from the start. And big win for the 49ers. They're back.
Yeah, and they had lost 3 or 4 in a row, so
Yeah.
the bye couldn't have come at a better time, literally. Not only because they were struggling, but Brock Purdy was kind of hurt, and
The whole team was hurt. McCaffrey was banged up.
yeah,
Kittle was
exactly.
banged up. Debo was banged up.
Debo and maybe most
Williams.
importantly Trent Williams was banged up, and they came to play on him and Debo did. So, yeah, they're back. They got the bye at such a good time. Now the thing is, they have to go the whole stretch of the season before the playoffs.
They're gonna get banged up.
Exactly, and every team does, but you know what I mean with the 49ers. So
yeah, they're kind of like the Ravens. Like when they get hurt, or the Chargers. They're just one of those teams. Browns at Ravens. This was a big AFC North battle. I thought the Ravens had this one in the bag, but then they didn't. Here come the Browns, but Watson is out. I know I don't want to get to that too much because I know you have that later on, but yeah, Watson's out for the year. Had to get shoulder surgery. So I don't know what that means for the Browns season, but this was a big win for them. Their defense is still really good. And the Ravens, I don't know what it means for them either. I think it's an AFC North game that you just have to hats off to the Browns for coming back, and Ravens just get back next week.
Yeah, this one had weird plays all across the board. Weird pick six from Kyle Hamilton to start the game. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it looked like a Madden glitch. Like Kyle, he wasn't really even on the screen, and then by the end of the play, he was in the end zone. Like, it was so weird how fast it happened. The pick six on Deshaun Watson to start the game. And then, like you just said, Ravens had a sizable lead, and then they let it go pretty quickly. Deshaun Watson, one of the best halves of his football life. Ball didn't touch the turf in the second half for him. Was able to make plays happen, keep plays alive. Was able to find guys like Njoku who really got the offense jump started with some tough, gritty run after the catch plays. And then the defense just shored up on Lamar and Jim Harbaugh's offense. And, here's the thing. Like, the Ravens have a hard time protecting leads because they just don't really have very many go-to guys, it seems like, when they have to protect leads. I don't know why that is, but
They don't have dogs.
They're able to get out to leads with mixing in all kinds of different guys. But when you need that guy to throw the ball to late in the game, you would figure it'd be Mark Andrews maybe, but he's just not quite at that level to help you seal the deal.
Back this year for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. They just can't hold on to leads. They had this happen to them. I think it was last year or 2 years ago where they kept blowing double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, and it really cost them. But, yeah, this one was a little bit surprising, but you do have to tip your cap to the Browns. I'll say this, Luke. I think besides the Steelers game, the Steelers playoff game a few years ago, this is like one of the best Browns wins within like the last 5 to 10 years. And it all came crashing down on Monday, I think it was. So when Deshaun Watson was ruled out for the rest of the year, which I had no idea, that he even got hurt in that game because he just played through it. But yeah, then you're right. You just kind of chop this result up to weird NFC or AFC North shit. Like, that's all you can really chop it up to, and you move on. But yeah,
Atlanta and Arizona, Kyler Murray's return. Arizona wins. So this is the second game this year that they've won. It actually might hurt them in the long run, but Kyler Murray played solid. Not well, but he played solid enough to win. This one, as well as the Cleveland game, were walk-off field goals to win the game. Atlanta, this is a game that got away from them. This is one that they need if they're going to want to win the division that they're in, just to lose in the first round of the playoffs. But that's about all I have. It's a disgusting game, but Kyler's back.
Yeah, I think the final was 25-22. No, 24-22 maybe.
Yeah, weird game.
Here's the thing. So, yeah, you just said Arthur Smith let this one slip away, and they did. And it's bad, and his seat got much warmer after the way they lost this game. And you're right, the first half, Kyler kind of working out the jitters of getting back on an NFL field. And then the second half, Luke, if you ask me, he looked like a quick little guy again. That fast Kyler Murray that we know. His legs looked fast. His little feet looked fast. But this game made me happy as just like an NFL overseer fan that he came back and was able to win them that game.
He's playing for his job right now.
Yeah, and there's always those questions about Kyler, not just from social media and fans, but even the front office, when they like try to build in that, the film watch time and stuff, how much does he really want to be there and like play football? Well, I think he kind of just showed that, and maybe in the long run he doesn't want to be in Arizona, which is fair, but I think he showed that he loved football on Sunday, and that was really sweet what he did in the fourth quarter. So I was glad that he's back out on the football field. So
yeah, and the Falcons are
obviously they're not going to do anything this year. Obviously, the Cardinals, and you're probably right that that win probably doesn't help them that much. It probably does more bad than good. But I think you want to win Kyler Murray's first game back. So that was good for them.
Yeah, Atlanta is just a team that you just want to root against too. I feel like they're a frustrating team. They're a bummer. Put it that way. This next game was, I think, one of the most over games. We did like a 10-minute call to pick the games last week since there was no show. And when I saw the game, I said to Cam, I was like, "Oh, this is a fun over game." And sure enough, it went way.
It was.
It was just one of those games. I don't know how the over-under was only 48, but it was back and forth. Neither defense could make a stop at the end of the game at all. And the Lions, once again, another walk-off field goal game here. They got the ball last, and they milked the clock at the very end. And, Brandon Staley's defense with another 40 bomb given up, and the Chargers moved to 4-5. Lions get a big win on the road. They're looking good, as they do every week. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a stud. Yeah, that's my notes.
Yeah, this game was you need a new head coach, and I think that might solve your problem. And it's crazy, like it. Usually when teams are 4-5, you can look at them and be like, well, it's not just this. It's this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And the Chargers, don't get me wrong, they have some other problems. But in this game,
it's just bad vibes right now.
It was bad vibes. In this game, though, you saw Justin Herbert look the best he's looked in a while. You saw Keenan Allen, who just surpassed 10,000 total career yards, so good for him. He had an unbelievable day. And then you saw their playmakers on defense making, they look competent, but then they would give up some huge plays. And Staley's in charge of the defense and the rest of this team. And you're like, well, we just saw a guy have one of the best performances at the quarterback position in a while. And so did Jared Goff, by the way. But you have the pieces here. you need the head coach. Staley, I'm surprised he wasn't actually out the door the next day. I actually was. With some of the firings that we've seen, I thought he was going to be fired on Monday. And maybe they're just going to wait till Black Monday. I don't know. But if you're
It's
waiting
too
this
late.
long, I agree. I think that's way too late. But especially if you want to try and salvage the season, obviously the Raiders aren't going to really do anything, but they're 2-0 with, because you just get that boost of juice, when you fire your coach and hire somebody else as the interim. You wonder if the Chargers do that if they want any chance, because personally I think Staley should be out the door. I have seen some interesting rumors that Bill Belichick, his top destination would be the Chargers, actually, because they already have a quarterback in place, and that's apparently what he's looking for if he was to move on, is to already have that quarterback in place so you can just don't have to worry about that and just go out and win, which is fair, because when you think about the Patriots, Bill has to worry so much about the quarterback and the decisions there. Everything else lately, even though they can't score on offense, the defense has been banged up to all hell. Well, they held the Colts, who have scored 20 points in every game, to 10 points. I don't know how they did that. I wasn't awake, as we said. So, but yeah. And Detroit, you got to give them their flowers a little bit. Week by week, they're looking like a Super Bowl contender. So it's pretty cool. Good for them. I can't wait to watch them on Thanksgiving. Holy shit. So
I don't want to watch that game.
I will gladly watch that game just because it'll be the Lions offense.
Yeah, but then
And
I have to
like
watch
Jared
the
Goff.
Packers, and it's
Oh,
enough this year.
no, that'll be a fun game to watch. I cannot wait for that game. I can't wait to watch the Cowboys either.
No
That'll
game
be
involving
fun.
the Packers is fun to watch anymore, Cam.
And that is understandable. I've been in the same spot. But for an NFL fan, like, I get to watch Sam Howell on Thanksgiving too. I mean, it's going to be great. So
Hey, Sam Howell, we'll get to him in just a second here, but
yes, we will.
Actually, you know what? Let's skip over this game. Dallas takes care of business versus the Giants. Everyone knew this was going to happen. That's it.
One note. Tommy DeVito had his whole family there, and I just can't imagine making the trip to watch that. That is just so funny to think about.
Bad game to go to. But Washington, Seattle. This was once again enough. This should have been the game nationally televised, not the Cowboys Giants. Sam Howell is leading the league in passing yards. So how about that? I don't know what to think about that, but once again, another tight game for the Commanders that they just can't win at the end. Another walk-off field goal game for the Seattle Seahawks in this one. My notes is that this game was very close and that Ron Rivera is going to get fired. Because where did Riverboat Ron go? What happened to Riverboat Ron?
He's dead. The fight that he had to have to beat cancer, well, it took some pieces with him. And one of those pieces was Riverboat Ron. Now he's just Ron. And that's just how it is sometimes. And I think if you ask, if he was a true football guy, if Ron Rivera was a true football guy and you asked him, all right, would you rather die, cancer takes you, but you're still Riverboat Ron, but you die, you pass away, or would you rather live, you beat cancer, but you're no longer Riverboat Ron, instead you're just Ron, and he chose to just be Ron and to live, and I think most sane people will do that. But a true football guy, I don't know if he would do that. So
that's a wild comparison to make.
It is kind of a wild accusation. I mean, he's an 85 Bear Super Bowl champ, but I don't know. I feel like a true football guy would have let cancer take him and continue to be Riverboat Ron. But they not the greatest coach team, and this was another example in the coach game, but Two things to point out here in terms of quarterback play. Actually, three things. Starting with Sam Howell. I'll do him first here. Uh, they were a little bit slow in the first half, and then they got it going. And then, holy cow, by the third and fourth quarter, the Commanders' offense was just humming. Sam Howell, another huge day, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, game-winning or go-ahead drive in the fourth quarter that put them up. For me, it was literally an orgasmic play. Sam Howell to De'Ami Brown, two of my favorite Tar Heels ever, for a touchdown. And, they had the lead. But it was funny because on that drive, the commentators were yelling at the Commanders for going too slow, like that they weren't taking their time, or that they were taking their time going down the field. And then Sam found De'Ami for that big play. Kind of like ushering them, man, the Commanders really should be moving faster. Where in my head, I was like, no, you should slow it down because you're going to give the Seahawks way too much time, and nobody's been able to stop nobody in the second half, kind of like the Chargers and Lions game. And sure enough, and this was the other point I was going to get to on the other side of the ball. Geno Smith also in the second half looked like the Geno Smith from last year. And he looked really, really good in the second half, and he drove them right down the field for their game-winning field goal. So I don't know. It was a clash of two, of good quarterback play, and honestly, I think two good teams, two good units, but one is better coached than the other. And then I just wanted to give some more flowers to Tyler Lockett. This guy has been so good for so long, and I don't know. It's like the Seahawks never really go out. I know they just drafted Smith and Njigba this year, and I think they drafted him because they think he can be kind of like Lockett, but they never really go out of their way to go get different receivers anymore. And I think that's just because they feel so safe in Tyler Lockett. And how could you not? He's been doing this for so long, and you just got to give him his flowers. He was really good on Sunday as well. So
yeah, he's kind of one of those guys like Mike Evans, Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
where they just stay with one team that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, obviously the Buccaneers with Brady were good, but other than that, kind of irrelevant. And then just be good. Probably all three of them will make the Hall of Fame. Probably.
Yeah. So
I think this next game we don't have to. The Raiders beat the Jets in a very disgusting Sunday night game.
Just disgusting.
1 touchdown in total the whole night. And then Monday night, Denver and Buffalo, actually a good game. The Bills are broken, like big time. They're 5-5.
Beautiful.
And I know at the beginning of the year we were talking that the over-under was 10.5 for them on their win total. And we're like, Vegas must know something because that seems really low, and you fell for it. You took it in the big thing, which we'll get to in a second. But I mean, yeah, this is why they've outside of weeks 2 through 4 where they blew out, I think, like the Raiders and the Commanders and the Dolphins, they have been really, really bad. Like even in the wins, like against the Giants, bad. And then all the other games they lost. So I don't know what's going on there. They just fired their OC. But I honestly think McDermott's seat might be getting a little bit hot. Obviously, they're not going to fire him in the middle of the year. But, there's something that needs to be done down there to shake things up. We'll see if it's the offensive coordinator going. But they got the Jets this week. And honestly, kind of a must win. Because if you lose this one and you go to 5-6, it's going to be hard to catch up in the AFC.
Yeah, and you said this was a great game. Actually, it was. And the Bills, yeah, they might be broken. And for me, we just brought up, the 10.5 wins. For me, this is it's beautiful on both sides of the pasture here because I love watching the Bills lose. I always have, really, since Fitzpatrick left. Ever since the Josh Allen era started. And I don't know why. I don't really hate them. I actually don't. But I think their fans are – and I don't really hate their fans either. I don't know what it is about the Bills. I think it's maybe the overhype that they always get every single year that throws me into not liking them very much. But I enjoy watching them lose thoroughly. And I think a big part of it, Luke, has to deal with Josh Allen. I know they just fired their OC, like you just said. Josh Allen leads the league in interceptions.
Second
I
year in a
mean,
row.
he leads the league in doy plays, pretty much. Doy throws, really. I mean, just throws that you don't have to make. And he leads the league in them. So I think that's been a problem. I think there's always some weird tension with Stephon Diggs in that locker room. I don't know if the front office and, McDermott really know how to approach him, and I don't know. It's a weird situation there. Sometimes they simply just can't run the ball. They go through stretches like that, and then I don't know. The defense is still pretty good, if you ask me. Like, they're off and on good though. It's not very consistent.
Inconsistent.
So I don't know what's going on there. You're right. They're just broken. That's the easiest way to put it. And then to wrap this up, I hate to – it's weird to say, but I'm happy for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And
I'm happy
I
for the
actually am.
In general, they haven't made a playoff appearance since their Super Bowl win with Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning is in the Hall of Fame for many years now. This is the Sean Payton effect, I think, finally taking in. I don't know if it fully set in for the first few weeks, and that's why they were so bad. But now he's had time to establish that culture, get some, flow going on the field, and Broncos are getting in a rhythm right now. And we'll see what happens when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force with the Vikings next week. They're the two hottest teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
But
and I think we actually may have predicted them to finish pretty high in the West this year, because we were just thinking that Sean Payton was going to have the boat, sailing full speed ahead pretty early on. And you're right, it took some time. And I actually don't think it's all the way there. I don't think Sean Payton has his culture 100, even close to 100% established. I think it might take another year for that to fully set in. But I want to go back to just being happy for Russell Wilson, because I will wholeheartedly be at the front of the line telling people I'm part of the group that thinks it's funny to make fun of him and likes to make fun of him, and that he does it to himself for us to make fun of him. Some of the weird, cringy stuff he does. But last year was just incredibly sad by the end of the season. And this year, at the beginning of the year, we're still making fun of them, especially through the first 3 games, because like you just said, it took a while for them to get anything going. Well, now they're kind of getting some stuff going. And honestly, the whole year, and yeah, they didn't win any games at the beginning of the year, Russell Wilson had been much better than what he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I mean, he was making some plays in that Bills game that looked like, the prime Russ on the Seahawks. I mean, that one goal line pass to Javonte Williams for the touchdown on the bootleg kind of deal that was really quick. He didn't make that play last year, but he's making it again this year. And I don't know. It's nice to actually see, for some reason, him kind of getting through that mess of memes of everybody making fun of him and kind of overcoming it and being good again.
Yeah, I think we kind of, when that Patrick the Star thing, when he threw the pick, when they were getting blown out 40-0 or something like that, and he's like, that's not what he wanted. We said that was the lowest it could be. And I think that's true. I think it's been nothing but up since that moment for him. I don't think he'll ever be what he was in Seattle, but it's nice to see actually good Russell Wilson. And the Broncos you can no longer look at them on the schedule and be like, that's a win. You can maybe look at the Patriots and be like, oh, that's a win. But the Broncos, it's like, that's a winnable game, but going to be tough. They've elevated to that tier, so good for them.
And the defense too. Their defense has they're not the defense of the we're not. You remember how we were just a few weeks ago we talked about how the Broncos their defense, would always keep them in games. Even last year, if the offense just had a heartbeat, they would have won way more games. What was that stat? Remember they would have won like 12 games that they would have just scored more than like 16 points. I want to say or something like
I
that.
think they were like a league average offense. They would have won like 14 games or something.
Yeah, it was really something crazy. But their defense is really shored up too, which is coaching. But yeah, they're not to be taken lightly as we move forward through the season.
All right, that's week 10. It was nice to talk some football there. And one thing that we do have to mention with the bet wise, we did get our punishment set for the beginning of the year over under picks. Where me and Cam each picked 4 totals. We're going to be doing something with it's going to be content wise, where the loser will have to try to hit off of Taylor Brown. So she's in, she's ready to do it. I don't know exactly what like the whole thing will be, but it will involve that. So the loser will probably be getting embarrassed for quite a while, and we'll obviously upload it to the YouTube and stuff. So.
Some questions to be asked around that because I feel like it's going to fall on me. If
don't say that. I know you did pick the Panthers over.
The picks right now are not looking good for me. Am I going to have to like hit one over the fence or what? I mean,
I don't know. Hey, I'm not. Hey, I picked the Raiders under, and they're getting hot, and I also picked the Bengals over. So. I got a couple questionable ones too.
That's kind of fucked up on your end. Maybe you juiced me into the Panthers on purpose.
I did not. You knew how much I was into the Panthers. That was not fake. It just happened to. But can we talk about the backup pick that you had was also the Titans over? So you picked probably one of the 2 most disgusting overs that you could have made.
I just trusted in Vrabel's tits, man. I don't know what you want me to say.
So yeah, that's our punishment. I guess we can probably start to post the over under totals so that we're getting closer to the end of the year. People can start to get involved with that and root for whoever. But yeah, the loser will have to do that some form of fashion. If it's you, it might just be like just get a hit. But since I do have baseball experience, it might be like a home run for me or something like that.
Gotcha.
Because while a hit will be difficult, it won't take. Like I can make contact. I don't know. I feel like I can make contact. It has been a while since I've swung a baseball bat, but I feel like I have the knowledge at least and like the bat to ball skills to a few times.
I feel like I might swing out the vertebrae in my neck. I've done that before, so
it might definitely be funnier if you lose.
Totally different sport. It could be even worse.
All right.
Let's do fantasy quarter and wrap up here with our picks.
Fantasy.
I'll go first,
here.
I guess. You're first. Since I'm on top.
I thought I beat you today, but then we ended up switching documents. So
I guess that's true. My stardom, Luke, is DTR. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson season is continuing on. It's picking up here at a different point in the season. And to be 100% completely honest with you, Luke, I actually don't know why they are giving him the start over PJ Walker. I don't know. I mean, PJ Walker at least kept them competitive and in game. They won some games with PJ Walker. So I don't know if he is maybe hurt silently or what, but they are going with DTR. And so I will be home this weekend watching Red Zone all day long. And this was just music to my ears. I can't wait to when they flash over to when they're down like 20 and he has the ball just doing weird shit. So that'll be nice. And then my sit-em is DeMar Hamlin, Luke. There's been some interesting memes going around about DeMar Hamlin. But if you didn't know, the Broncos also won their game on a game-winning field goal. The first attempt, which was missed. But there also was a 12th person on the field, and that 12th person just so happened to be Damar Hamlin. So there was a lot of funny internet videos, if you will, going around about that. Clips from movies. There was one funny one that was like, "Why couldn't you have just stayed dead?" Which was just so
crazy.
maybe distasteful, but very funny after that. After the
Also,
second kick went in, and the Broncos won.
that was a work of Ghetto Gronk. Definitely
That
the
was.
best NFL memes artist out there.
And then my sleeper is Ben the dog. And if you don't know who Ben the dog is, that's okay. During last week's Saturday night college football game that Kirk Herbstreit was doing, Georgia and Ole Miss, they were showing Uga on the field as they usually do. And then they did a second pan over to Ben the dog, who was just Kirk Herbstreit's dog, was just at the game for some reason. And I don't know why, but holy shit, Luke. He's my sleeper because he just looked so damn cute and happy and pettable. And, Ugo always looks like he's fighting for his life, which isn't his fault. That's just their breed of dog, and which is kind of on humans. We just made them that way, that they have to go their whole life just struggling to breathe. But Ben, Ben was just enjoying a college football Saturday. So, my sleeper's Ben the dog.
Yeah, he's also an internet dog where he answers the phone and he goes, "Ben." If you've seen
Well,
those videos,
that's Talking Tom's friend Ben the dog, but
yeah. All right, my fantasy corner, my stardom is Cam. I don't know if you know what I have. 3 of them down. I bet you have no clue what any of them are. So my stardom is a Dutch
I think
guy.
the last one has something to do with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it does.
I had to
guess. My stardom is Dutch guy with solar panels. So there was a guy in the Netherlands a few weeks ago, and he got in trouble by the authorities. I don't know if they arrested him, but he had solar panels on his house, and he spelled out the Dutch word for penis with his solar panels. So shout out to that guy. That's an all-time.
That's a good stardom. Yeah, he deserves to be start.
Yeah, I think it might have also happened in the Netherlands, but there was a road sign that was Harry Dick Road, and it keeps getting stolen. It might be the UK that happened in, but very funny too. My situm is the marathon record. There was a guy from Kenya, I believe. I want to say he broke the all-time marathon record just a few weeks ago. So I think it was like 2 hours and like 36 seconds. So it's insanely fast to run 26 miles, and it's obviously the record. So that's pretty cool. I don't think it really got enough attention as what it should have. I mean, it is the world record for marathon. And then my sleeper is edibles. Because just a few hours ago, Snoop Dogg released the news that he's done smoking. So that's big news. Snoop Dogg has kind of been like the spokesperson, if you will, for marijuana over the years, and he's been very public about it. And so this is big news. But I guess it's sleeper for the edibles, because no smoke, that obviously doesn't have anything to do with edibles. So shout out Snoop Dogg for moving to safer options, I guess.
Well, from the looks of it, he just sounds like he's just done with it in general.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, edibles on the sleeper, like not just for Snoop Dogg. This could be national. So
he could start a revolt.
So, yeah.
And then just college basketball is back too. It's been
it's back.
Yeah,
I will watch it over Thanksgiving break. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, last week was obviously the first week, and we didn't have a show last week, although I had a bunch of notes on it. Arizona beats Duke on Friday. That was a big win for the both of us and for Caleb Love. Huge win. I think that might be one of the only ranked matchups. I think Tuesday night, there were some between Kansas and Kentucky.
Kansas, Kentucky.
But yeah, there hasn't been a lot of ranked matchups, but that doesn't matter. I'm getting into the sicko grind of it, watching some really gross games. I watched Charleston versus Vermont at 10:30 this morning. SLU is currently in a battle with Wyoming, so that's kind of another sicko game. There's just a lot of disgusting things that have happened, and I'm here for all of it. Yeah, I can't wait. I just love the names. Some of the names in college basketball are awesome.
Yeah, Mizzou lost to Memphis last Friday as well, and they were up by not like by a lot, like a very, not like a sizable margin that Memphis couldn't come back from because they obviously did, but
Was it 14 points?
Yeah, they just didn't do shit in the second half. Mizzou didn't. It was really bad, and Memphis, they did. They woke up. They played sure defense, and were shooting really well in the second half. So, but Mizzou bounced back. They're 2-1. Just beat SIUE on Monday. So, yeah.
Some big games ahead. I guess not really for Mizzou or anything basketball wise. I do want to go over. There is some names I have to share. Some of these college basketball names. I've been racking them up on the notes. First off, we have Elijah Pepper from UC Davis. That's just kind of a funny name. Starting off very light, and then we have a guy from Weber State who did just upset St. Mary's, ranked St. Mary's a few days ago. Blaze Threat is his name. Just another one. And then these next two are just
Do you have the kid from Rhode Island?
Yep, that's the next one. Okay. Always Right. But Wright is with a W. Wright. Shout out to his parents for naming him Always. Always Right. That's just such a great name. And he plays big minutes, too, for the Rhode Island Rams. And then this is my favorite. This is my personal favorite one. I cannot believe it's even real. There's a guy from Utah Tech. His name is Tennessee Rainwater. It is the greatest name I think I've ever seen. I mean, we talk about college football names. You get some great ones too. But this one, Tennessee Rainwater. Send this guy to a Tennessee school. What is he doing in Utah Tech?
That is crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty. I love it though. I'm here for all of it. Yeah, sorry, I had to share that. The Tennessee Rainwater.
That's a good share. I'm glad you did.
And then I guess before we do our picks, do you want to talk a little Mizzou football? Since we have
I would love to.
episodes, they've had a huge last 2 weeks. Really, if you think about it, they played Georgia on the road, which they didn't win, but they did play very well in the game. There was a couple plays that could have went if they would have went the other way. Who knows? To beat Georgia, you almost have to play perfect. They didn't. They didn't play. They played well, but they didn't play perfect. And that's why they didn't win.
You're right.
And in Tennessee, they played damn near perfect, if not perfect. So, that field goal that Tennessee tried to attempt at the very end, I remember I looked over at my dad. I was like, this might be the saddest field goal of all time. And then the fact that he missed it, that was definitely the saddest field goal of all time. I couldn't help but laugh. It was so sad.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Drink iced him was just so awesome.
So funny.
I mean, we were sitting in the crowd. I was there, obviously, and we're watching it, and I'm like, I turned to Will. I'm like, hey, I don't know if we will, but just after what's happened the last 2 years against Tennessee, it would be kind of nice if we kind of poured on here a little bit at the end. And sure enough, Dalen Cardinal gets the pick six, which I was going absolutely bananas over, by the way. And then,
jersey on?
Oh yeah, of course I did. And then, the Luther Burden touchdown that he scored late too, and then they iced the kicker. I mean, it was just beautiful. So 36-7 against Tennessee. I mean, just a bludgeoning. So I mean, it was beautiful. And then there was, and after the game, we had Drink saying that we stand on business, being pretty confident in the pressers. And then another thing to point out, Cody Schrader had one of the best games you can have as a collegiate running back. It's only been done about 5 other times, I think it was. 200 rushing yards and 100 receiving yards. So, and Luke pointed out, actually, I don't know if we were on the air yet, that he's on the Pat McAfee show today. So,
Yeah,
which is pretty
I
cool for
don't
him.
think we were on the air yet.
Yeah.
I listened to a little bit of it, so that's certainly cool. I think they showed a stat during the game, and it was like since 1970, only 5 Power 5 running backs had what was it 200 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in a game. So that's rare company there. He's definitely played himself into a draft spot. I think he will get drafted.
I think so.
I don't know what it is, but Mizzou running backs have been really, really good as of recently. Like
They have.
they go to the NFL.
Yeah.
So
Tyler Beatty, Larry Roundtree, missing one.
yeah, there's a big one. I think it was the guy right after guy who got at Auburn in the SEC championship game. Right after him, he went to the NFL too. I'm blanking.
Oh, if we want to go that far back, I mean, yeah, we had Henry Josie, Marcus Murphy, Tyler Hansborough, Demaria Crockett is in.
Yeah, Crockett. That's who I was
He's
thinking.
been around in and out of the league. Yeah, that's the one we were forgetting was Crockett.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, Jim Harbaugh just accepted his 3-game ban, so he will not be coaching the Ohio State game.
that's crazy.
That's so stupid.
That is disgusting, actually. I don't know who I'm guessing, was it the Big Ten that handed that out?
Yeah, it was.
How do you do that to your most important game? Like, that's the Big Ten's most important game.
Yeah,
not just those 2 schools. I mean, just stupid.
The 2-game suspension, I guess, if you want to give him something, but suspending him for the Ohio State game is nuts.
Yeah.
I hope they win. I hope they win it all, honestly. Obviously, Georgia winning the 3rd one in a row would be cool, but in Alabama, they would be cool too. I can't wait for that game, the Georgia-Alabama SEC championship.
I think just about any winner would be cool this year.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Who would not be cool? I can't think. Like, the first team that popped in my head for not being cool was Ohio State, but then that would, I don't know, I feel like they could still be kind of cool. They're just not as fun to watch on offense this year.
Yeah, other than Marvin Harrison Jr., I feel like they're just kind of and I don't really like Ryan Day, so it kind of,
But like,
other than them though, I think I could get behind any other winner.
Any team, literally. Like, obviously, I don't think I'd want Georgia to win it again if Alabama was in it, or I think I could even find myself rooting for Florida State somehow, which might be a sin, but I think I could find myself rooting for them. Washington would be fun. I don't know if they have that capability, but just anybody would be.
They're kind of struggling to even get in right now. They kind of have to win out. And then one other thing for college football, my Jane Daniels Heisman prediction, I think, is going to happen.
That's he's
crazy. Like over the course of the last week or two, he went from being 5th in the favorites to I think being favored now to win it all. And his stats really haven't changed much in comparison to Penix and Bo Nix and Jordan Travis and guys like that. I think it's literally just people looking at his stats and be like, oh yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
just, they turn around on him. So
he's the best player in college football.
Yeah.
So that's what the award's supposed to go to.
Exactly. And that also makes Mizzou's, we're ranked 9th in the nation. What are we, 8-2 right now?
Yeah.
If we get 2 more wins
8-2.
against Florida and Arkansas, which we should, be a 10-win season. And the only 2 losses would be to Georgia, who's on a 30-game winning streak or something right now, and then to the Heisman candidate. So
yeah,
those are 2 really good losses to have.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into picks here? Since
Yes,
we've
sir.
already run up the. I feel like we do this every week. We're like, oh man, how is it already over an hour when we get to picks?
Yeah. Um, Cincinnati at Baltimore.
Big game.
Al Michaels finally gets a big game. um, I took Baltimore last week, and we took both of these teams last week, and they kind of screwed us. Both teams need to bounce back. It's like a bounce back bowl. I don't know what to. What are your thoughts on it?
If it was up to me, I'd take the Bengals just because I think they didn't really play bad last week. I think that the Texans kind of just played like a little bit more perfect. And Baltimore already beat the Bengals once, and I feel like in this division, it's hard to beat a team twice. And the Bengals are kind of a primetime team. So, but I mean, obviously the pick's up to you. I'm not going to veto it if you take Baltimore.
No, that's those are fine reasons for me. Because I don't know. I feel like they're both coming off a tough loss, and it's not that, like you said, Cincinnati played good last week. So did Baltimore. I don't know. I'm not sure. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, although I think it's going to be disgustingly close.
Yeah, under. This is an under game.
Yeah, this could the way I see Cleveland winning this game is a Brownie the Elf game. Like some weird shit happens. So that's the only way. Obviously, there's got to be weird shit happening because DTR is playing, but extra weird with
no matter what the
Elf
under
thing.
is, I just take it.
Yeah, because like the Steelers aren't going to score either, So
yeah.
Chicago at Detroit. I'm going to take Detroit.
Yep.
Warming up for that Thanksgiving game. So they'll get 2 in a row at home. LA at Green Bay.
The Chargers.
I want to go with I think I will go with the Chargers. I'm going to be rooting for Zip though, Luke. I'm going to be rooting for Zip because I want them to fire Staley. I think if Zip beats them, then they might fire him. I keep telling myself that.
Matt LaFleur is kind of becoming on the hot seat, but when you have Joe Barry and Brian Gutekunst in your organization, Matt LaFleur gets really. I mean, it's going to be hard to fire him because those two are going before Matt LaFleur. But this is a game that the Chargers almost have to win, and this could really screw up Green Bay if they win this one.
Chargers have actually won most of their games this year that we've said they had to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think they will. Las Vegas at Miami. This one's interesting because Miami's off the bye, but Las Vegas has won 2 in a row with their interim coach. But I don't think Aiden O'Connell is going to be able to go throw for throw with Tua just yet. Some Tua news. He looks like Drake now. So good for Tua. Expect us. So I'm going to take Miami. Next game, New York. The football Giants at Washington. I'm going to take the Commanders, which would be good for Sam Howell and the Commanders going in, getting ready for the Thanksgiving game after. Yeah. And the Giants, they're literally playing with DeVito. So I'm just,
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I would honestly kind of be shocked if the Giants win another game the rest of the year.
Yeah,
it could be a sleeper for that number 1 overall pick.
I mean, wow, yeah. Could be crazy if that would be wild, actually. That would be unforeseen, but yeah, that would be cool. Dallas at Carolina, because we don't know really what they're going to do. They just paid out that ass for Daniel Jones, so I'm going to take Dallas. They're also going to be warming up for Thanksgiving Day. The Dallas at Carolina game. No, never mind. I was about to say it could get weirdly, grossly close, but the Cowboys take care of bad team. They take care of bad teams except for the Cardinals. So
this next game, though, Titans at Jags. Are you
Ah,
jagging off?
I think I was just about to say that, but yeah, I think I'm jagging off here. Um, I would like to see Levis do a little bit more in this game.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. Although it's not really all his fault. I feel like if you bring a quarterback into those really sweet jerseys, but you don't, and he wins, and you don't let him wear it again, I feel like that's kind of messed up. So, and that's
Yeah.
kind of on the organization. Like, I think we said this after that game. Like, if you win with a brand new quarterback,
You got to keep those jerseys.
yeah, I mean, you got to just wear them. I mean, you're starting a brand new era.
Yeah.
So, this game on paper for the season, disgusting. This could be sneaky fun on Sunday.
Yeah, don't want to overthink this one, though.
No, I'm gonna go with the Texans,
Okay.
but I'm excited to watch Kyler run around in NRG Stadium a little bit. I think this could be a fun game. Two fun quarterbacks in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that one on Red Zone. On like this, the way Houston has played their last two games, this game is also almost bound to come down to the witching hour, down to the wire. So it wouldn't shock me.
This game could go a number of ways. I'll say that.
Yeah, it could, or it could be the total opposite. But I don't think that we're gonna have too many total opposite games with the Cardinals this year. I think they got Kyler back, so I think they're gonna be very competitive per usual.
Yeah, but they kind of still suck, and they have Gannon. Pew pew.
San
Bucks
Francisco.
at Niners.
San Francisco.
Yeah. Jets at Bills.
Wow, this might be. Besides Baltimore, Cincinnati, this might be the toughest game to pick on the schedule.
Yeah, both teams are kind of broken right now.
Yeah, here's the thing. So both teams, like Lucas just said, broken. Buffalo at home, so that's +1 Buffalo. Jets always have the Bills number. That's +1 to the Jets. I think this series is going to be split this year. I think I'm going to take the Bills. I actually think they're going to win this game by like 17 points or so.
Yeah, I feel like this might be kind of a wake-up call for the Bills. Like, hey, let's turn it on right now.
And I don't know if, you say it's going to be a wake-up call, or that it might be. I don't know if it's really going to carry past it. I just think they're going to split this series this year, and they're going to – I don't know. They're just – Jets can't move the fucking football. Excuse my language, but they can't. New York Jets at Buffalo. I'm sorry. Seattle at L.A. I don't know who's all coming back for the Rams this week. I would have to check.
Just remember that McVay kind of owns Pete Carroll.
Yeah, he does. I want to see, actually, hold on, just some quick research. Are Rams?
I don't think Carson. This might be a Carson Wentz game, honestly.
See if they're getting Kyron Williams this week.
What about Stafford? Is he playing?
Williams is not eligible to return until week 12. Okay, so no Kyron Williams.
What about Stafford?
That's Stafford playing this week. Stafford, full practice participant. Rams expecting Matt Stafford to return for week 11.
Okay, that's good.
So no Brett. Rams at home. Haven't won in a little bit. Oh, my gosh. But that's kind of just...
This is a game that, if we take this risk, we almost need it to hit.
Oh, man. I mean, Seattle should win this game, but it's fun to pick the Rams, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a bad pick though. Who has Seattle lost to this year?
You check that out. I'm gonna say something real quick. The Rams QB room is actually like one of the most wild QB rooms. So you have Matt Stafford. It's kind of, that's the normal. But then you have Carson Wentz and Stetson Bennett, which are like polar opposites. And then you have Brett Rippon. Who
I think they let go of Brett. I think they
Stafford?
just let go of Brett.
Oh, they
I
did?
think they let him walk.
Thank
I think they let go of him
That was so
and
gross.
Zach Evans or something like that. Oh, wait, that's preseason. Who the hell did they lose to? They lost to the Bengals. They lost to the Rams.
What is taking so long to get this? They lost to the Rams.
Shit pumped, and they got beat by the Ravens. Shit pumped.
They lost to the Rams.
I want to take Seattle now, but I mean, you're right. McVay does own them. All right, whatever. I hate the Rams. Fuck it. I'm taking Seattle.
I'm vetoing.
Okay.
All that for the veto. I used the veto.
Why didn't you just say that earlier? We could have just gone through that way faster. All right.
Who's your pick?
Minnesota at Denver. Are you kidding me? This is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object game.
Monday Night Football.
Did they flex this?
No, I think this was pre-scheduled to be this way.
Um,
Which a few weeks ago, this was like Jets, Raiders, and then Vikings, Broncos. Like, what are we doing here? But this actually is, both these teams have played themselves back into good tier.
Contention. I think, is Minnesota in the playoff right now?
Yeah, they are. They're the 7th.
Exactly.
I think they're like 2 games up on the playoffs too. Like
Wow.
They're well into the playoffs.
I think Denver wins this game. I think the Pastronaut has a good showing. I think Dangerous is. I'm not saying he's all the way back, but enough to win this game against the Pastronaut. So that is definitely a toss-up pick, but I'm going to take Denver at home.
All right.
I think I'm just riding high on Russ, actually. And then Game of the year, maybe?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. This probably will be the most viewed TV program of 2023. If I had,
Super Bowl probably.
Other than the Super Bowl, but like of this season, this is going to be definitely the most viewed regular season game. You have the Kelsey effect. Not only do you have the 2 best teams in the league playing, not only do you have a Super Bowl rematch, not only do you have the Kelsey brothers thing, which obviously we got in the Super Bowl last year, but this year there's a third or a fourth thing that's thrown into here, which I didn't know this before, but obviously it's all over the internet. Taylor Swift is an Eagles fan, so it could get interesting.
I'm taking the Eagles. I did the math just now. This is a game that the Eagles win in the regular season and lose in the playoffs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was my thought too. It's yeah.
And like I actually think, now don't get me wrong, Mahomes will probably keep it close. A part of me thinks the Eagles win this game by like 10 or 13 points. And like stand on business, if you will. I think they're I mean, don't get me wrong, Jason Kelsey is a part of the bullshit. Don't get me wrong. He's dragged into it with the podcast that he does. And he's a big part of it. But I think Jalen Hurts has one of the best NFL games of his entire career. And he's hurt. I think he's going to have one of the best NFL games of his entire career this week. And the Chiefs have a great defense. Top 5 defense, I believe.
At Kansas City, too.
At Kansas City, I think Philadelphia is going to do this. I actually feel confident about this. Like, I
do too. I know what you mean, because this is a game where the Chiefs, the Chiefs just kind of screw around in the regular season, if you will. Like if they lose a game here and there, they're like, oh well, we're still going to have an AFC Championship game in Kansas City and probably go to the Super Bowl. But the Eagles, I feel like they're kind of on a mission this year.
Yeah, they were last year. They don't have that same mentality. They don't mess around. Like that's not in the Philly genetic code. That's not a part of it.
Yeah, but like this year, it's like, hey, we were so close last year, and part of it is this is the team that prevented them from winning it all last year. And I feel like they're just going to have that extra juice that maybe Kansas City doesn't coming off the bye. I don't think Kansas City cares. I think if they lose this game, it's going to be like, well, that's a good team. If we see them in the Super Bowl, then we'll probably beat them better. It's one of those things. So, but yeah, I think Philly. I agree with you on that.
Like,
it'll be a good pick, but
I can pick 2 to 3 games on this slate that I feel less confident about than I do with this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And if the Chiefs win, I won't be upset, but that's just how I feel.
I'm so thankful that this game's at night.
Oh,
this is such a night game. It makes sense.
Monday night football. Oh, I won't have school the next day. Oh.
All right, shut the hell up, bragger.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. All right, thank you guys for tuning in this week. Thank you for coming back after the week off next week. Look for the podcast a little earlier. I don't know if it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday when it comes out, but it will not be Thursday or Friday. Obviously, it'll be out before then. So stay prepared for that. Follow our Twitter, obviously. My punishment will be coming out on Saturday before the Mizzou game day on the Twitter. So show me.
You want to wear my Sam Howell jersey for it?
I guess I could, but then it wouldn't be Mizzou game day. It would just be.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna wear for it?
I don't know.
I don't think I can let you wear the Dalen Carnell jersey and you do that dance.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.